Hi students, good afternoon to all. Now I am going to teach a poem of famous American poet Robert Frost, The Dust of Snow, for the students of Standard 10. Welcome you to the lecture. Okay, just come. First of all, I will read out the poem. I will simply clarify all your doubts about words, and then I will simply paraphrase it. It has only 2 stanzas. I will paraphrase the stanza and I will tell the summary of the poem, and I will also discuss what is the moral lesson of the poem. Let's come to the poem Dust of Snow. Dust of Snow. Students, coming to the first point, I shall tell you that Robert Frost is a famous American poet. He has been awarded lot of prizes and lot of honors in the field of literature, especially in the field of poetry. He has excelled in the field of poetry, and he has become the Poet Laureate of Vermont. He has awarded the Poet Laureate Prize in Vermont. Now, coming to the poem, I shall tell you it is all about nature. Dust of Snow is a poem on nature. The poet wants to prove that very small things of life, little things of life, sometimes it gives us immense pleasure, great happiness. That means a very little thing, it has a great result. We do not know that we usually ignore little things. We usually do not think that little things will do something good for us. It's not like that. It's not like that. Very little thing, very little experiences, they are to the great pleasures of life, the great happiness of life. Let's come to the poem. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had viewed. You see, this poem is consisting of only 2 stanzas, but one thing you have to point it out, that there is no punctuation mark in between the lines. That means it begins from, let's see, that the poem begins from the line. The poem begins from the line, the way a crow, and ends of a day I had viewed. You see, there is no punctuation mark. That is most important point. This is enjambment. It is known as enjambment. But it's not important for you. The thing that is important for you, alliteration and rhyming skill. I shall discuss about alliteration and rhyming skill later. Let's come to the poem paraphrase wise. The way a crow shook down on me. Once upon a time, the poet is sitting under a hemlock tree. Either he is sitting or he is standing. We are not sure. The poet is not sure whether he was. That means the statement which has been made in this poem, it doesn't make us clear that whether he was sitting or standing. But obviously he was sitting. My point is, he is sitting because he is in a sorrowful mood. He is in a mood of depression. Something wrong might have happened to the poet, for which he is going and he is sitting under a hemlock tree. Hemlock is usually known as a poisonous tree. Hemlock tree, it is known as a poisonous tree because it's suppose you simply take any part of hemlock, it leads to madness or it leads to death. Therefore, hemlock is known as a poisonous tree. Suppose you imagine that this is the poisonous tree, this is hemlock. I am not good in painting, please don't mind. Just for your understanding I am doing this. This is hemlock tree, see. And the poet he is sitting under the tree. At that time, a crow came and sits on its branches. These are the branches of the tree. Let's see. The crow, the bird. Crow is a bird. Usually literature we consider crow as an ominous sign. It is a bad omen. The bird it came and sits on the branches of the tree. When it simply sits on the branches of the tree, there is obviously some movement. When the branches are still, previously the branches are still, and when the crow is simply coming, and I am not good at drawing, suppose you imagine that this is a crow. The bird came and the bird sits on the branches of the tree, and when the bird is simply sitting on the branches of tree, the leaves are simply shaken, and when the leaves are shaken, there are snowflakes, dust of snow. That means snowflakes are simply falling on the poet. The poet is sitting here. On the head of the poet, that means on the poet, some snowflakes are falling. It is very much clear, it is very much evident that there was fall of snow prior Prior there was fall of snow. The bird is sitting on the branches of the tree, and when the bird is sitting on the branches of the tree, the snowflakes are falling on the poet. When something, the poet is in a still mood. The poet is in a mood of dilemma. He is in a mood of unhappiness. That means you may tell that he might have some personal problem. We should not go to that point. We should not go to that side because you do not know what has already happened to the poet. But something wrong has happened to the poet, for which he was in a mood of sorrow. He was in a mood of depression, and the bird is sitting on the tree, on the branches of the tree, on the branch of a tree, particular branch of a tree, the bird is sitting, and when the bird is sitting on the branch of a tree, the snowflakes are falling on the poet. The moment, you see, the way crows shook down on me, the crows shook down on the poet the dust of snow, that means snow particles, small snow particles from a hemlock tree. Dust of snow, who are the important word? Now see, number one is hemlock tree, first of all hemlock tree, number one, this is important. Number two, you see, crow. Number three, snowflakes. Snowflakes. You see, the most important character is the poet himself. He is the man who is sitting and sitting under the hemlock tree. The crow is sitting on the branches of the tree. The snowflakes are falling on the poet. This has already happened in the first stanza. Come to the second stanza. From a hemlock tree. Has given my heart a change of mood. This is most important. The moment the snowflakes are falling on the poet, it has given a change of mood to the poet. Why and what for? Why do you feel? Why do you feel that there is a change of mood in him? There is a change of mood in the heart of the poet. Why do you feel? Think that, suppose you are simply in a mood of sorrow, you are in a mood of depression, you are just thinking what has already happened to you, you are only roaming on that, that means you are only brooding on that, you are thinking on that, and your journey, the journey you have started, that means it is simply concentrated on that particular thing, that what wrong has already happened to you. And anyway, when some change is there, that is a change. Snowflakes are falling on the body of the poet, that is a change. When a change is there, the mindset is automatically changing, because the poet it is coming as a shock. The poet is transported to a different state. He was in a mood of depression. Earlier he was in a mood of depression. He has been transported to a different state. Transported to a different, my dear student, please note down, these are the keywords, different states. What is that state? My point is now, your point also, you will also ask me, teacher, just tell me what is that state to which the poet has been transported. It is a state of happiness. It is a state, first of all, it is a change, and this change is certainly for the better. It is a state of happiness, it is a state of joy, it is a state of revelry. The poet is simply going to a different state. Then see, a change of mood, and saved some part of a day I had rode. Saved some part of day, it means that in the earlier part of the day, the poet was in a mood of depression, the poet was in a mood of sorrow, the poet was very much unhappy, he was not at all happy, he was only thinking that what wrong has happened to him, some wrong, some mistake, some sort of unhappiness, it must have happened to the poet. Next moment, you see, there is a change of mood. First mood is mood of depression. You see, this is the mood of depression. Second mood, when the crow shook some snowflakes on the poet is having a change of mood. That is, he has been transported to a different state. My point is that this different state is certainly a state of happiness or joy or revelry, whatever you may consider as per your convenience. You may take it as per your convenience that the poet is transported to a state of happiness. And saved some part of a day I had rued. Rued means a state of regret, held in regret. The poet was in a mood of regret. There was something hidden, regret in him. Something is beating him, and he is simply emotionally, and although not physically, emotionally, he is in a mood of shock. He is in a mood of unhappiness, and that mood has already been changed. And here the poet speaks that and saved some part of the day. First part of the day, it was nothing, a state of unhappiness. First part, a state of unhappiness. Second part, at the first part of the day. My dear students, just see first of the part of the day is a state of unhappiness. Second part of the day, that means his regret is over. He is overcoming his regret. He is overcoming his sorrow. He is transported to a different state. He has been transported to a different land. That is the summary of the poem. You have to remember the things you have to remember. Just see what things you have to remember. I will be telling you these are the most important things and you have to remember all these things. Now students, come to the most important poem. The most important poem or the moral of the lesson. What is the moral of the poem? The moral of the poem is that small things of life leads to greater happiness. Small incident of life adds to our pleasure, adds to our happiness. Therefore, small things should not be ignored. Small things should not be neglected. We have to care, we have to think, we have to consider all things equally, because there is no such thing which is very small. There is no such thing which is very big. In God's creation, everything, beginning from ant, ending with elephant, everything is important. Every creature is important. Every incident is important. And we have to learn from each incident. We have to learn from every either human being or animals, every creature in this universe, we have to learn from them. My dear students, the moral of the lesson, again I am telling, small things add to the greater happiness of life. Small incident add to the larger happiness of life. And sometimes from a small incident, our sorrow is gone. We enter into the realm of happiness. And now my point is that which are the keywords and what is the meaning and what is the poem technique, what is the technique of the poem. First of all, these are the keywords. Keywords again I am telling, serially I am telling, crow, dust of snow, and then hemlock tree. In the first stanza, these are most important words. Although it is a poisonous tree, remember it is a poisonous tree, but it brings pleasure. It is irony. It is poisonous. We know that it is poisonous, but it is the medium of giving happiness to the poet. Therefore, it is also important. And then, heart, poet's heart. In the second stanza, she, poet's heart. Let me make it heart. 5, come to 5, second stanza, second line, mode. And shaved some part, no, it's not. Rude, that is the most important line. Make someone aggrieved, make someone unhappy, and it is over. These are the most important lines. Coming to the structure, about the technique that the poet has used in this poem, I shall tell you. The way a crow swooped down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Please bring your text and just see. First line of the poem, it lines with the third line. And the second line of the poem rhymes with the fourth line. Therefore, the structure is A, B, in the first stanza. First stanza, the structure is A, B. Coming to the second stanza, you see, has given my heart. Second stanza, first line is simply rhyming with third line of second stanza. Part, heart part, mood, rude. Then, the rhyming scheme. The rhyming pattern is, I am just telling, she, D. This is all about your rhyming skill, rhyming pattern. Let's. Another thing I shall tell you. Crow swooped down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part on a day I heard rude. Let's see. Come to the second stanza. Has given my heart. H sound is repeated. Has, heart, H sound. And in the third line of second stanza, save some. S sound is simply repeated. And when in a particular sentence, particular line, words are producing the same sound, either in the particular line or at the end of the line, the same sound is produced. Same sound. the way a crow, it's not like that. Crow, snow, it is simply rhyming skill. So that is rhyming, and if in a particular line words of same sound are repeated, then it is a case of alliteration. That means the poet uses, he has used here alliteration to make the poem lyrical. It is a lyric poem. It is a lyrical why? Because the moment you simply go through the poem, you read the poem, it's very, very soothing to your ear. It has a music of its own, then the poem is lyrical. Coming to the end conclusion of the poem, I shall tell you that Dust of Snow is a beautiful, there is no comparison, uncomparable nature poetry. The poet from a small incident has given us a great message that small incidents of life, small happenings of life, sometimes they bring pleasure, happiness and also joy for us. Therefore, we have to simply respect, we do not ignore any incident of our life. God has created this earth and this is wonderful. He has created the world of nature and it is giving us immense joy. Therefore, thanks to Him who has presented this beautiful world to us. Thank you all.